do, now I've got to go ahead and hit the live stream. And it just takes me a second to set this up.
Do you want me to put on my stuff on mute for a minute?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You keep it right there. Hey. I think we're almost there. Almost there, almost there. And now I just have to go back. All right, one more button and we go live.
Sounds good.
There we go. And I do like to just make sure that we are live before, and we are live. Look at that, it's showing you right away. Well, you probably can't see that, but
no, I get to see me in a normal Zoom.
So one thing I like to do, hey everyone, just want to welcome everybody to this live broadcast real quick, but I like to go ahead and tag here because because of the fact that we're live, a lot of people like to have that notification that we are live. And so give me just a hot second. I don't have a second person that's operating this, but it only takes a quick second. How are you tonight, by the way? Doing good?
You talking to me?
Yeah, talking to you.
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Okay, good. So good. I have everybody tagged. Okay. I have to say I'm really looking forward to our conversation tonight and tonight's broadcast, because we had originally scheduled this for last week, right? And with the passing of my mom, we pushed it out another week. And I was kind of bummed, but I knew that I was not in that mode yet last Thursday to do such a nice, high energy, exciting story as yours. And I really wanted to give it everything that it deserved, because I'm really excited for Makenna to share her story this evening. And as the caption says, Makenna was able to reach a new level in relationship with her horse and achieving liberty circles and changes of direction, all without Grandpa's guidance. And I'm sure we're going to talk about the influence he has had on Makenna in her life with horses, and really, Makenna, how you've looked up to his direction, right? But also, you have a young child at home and you work, and I'm sure you're going to explain to us how you found the time to still get out there with your horse and make your dreams come true. And again, that day that you sent me that message and said, I got Liberty Circles and changes of direction, I have been so thrilled ever since then. So I'm officially glad to have everyone here today and excited to talk to Makenna. So let me ask you, Makenna, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here, and I am glad that we got to postpone this a little bit to this week so that you were in it and I was in it, because I felt so bad for you, and I'm like, oh, that's so. And I hope everything's going good, and we just love you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, tonight's a really good night for us to have it. The weather's getting warmer. People are starting to think about liberty again and starting to think about getting out there with their horses. And, I'm really excited to dive in here because you have a heck of a story, right? And I love how you've had some of these challenges that, you're going to describe here, but instead of letting them hold you back and that uncertainty, you found a way to move forward and build an even stronger bond with your horse. And so what I want to do is let's start from the beginning. Can you share what it was like when you first moved your horses to your own place and realized you were stepping into this next chapter on your own? And I know your grandfather played a big role in your journey with horses. Can you tell us about his influence and how it felt to transition from learning under his guidance to finding your own way.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I started riding when I was about 15 with my grandpa, and he was that rough, tough cowboy. And then he kind of took a different direction. And like we've talked about before, we did kind of the Clinton Anderson stuff. And so my horses had a good grounding of what that was. And I learned how to ride on a horse that was 3 years old because that's the horse that we found. And so a novice rider, I was riding a 3-year-old. And so she was, and she still is, I still have her, but she's getting older. And so when I was 19, I decided, well, I need to get my own. And so I got a weanling and trained him from the ground up. And he's the one now that I do Liberty with, and he's my baby. And so I've had him, he's now 14. So I've had him for a while. And so I've had him his whole life, and he's taught me a lot of patience. And, but, you know, switching over from bringing him to my house, that happened about 2 years ago. And in that same year, I was also having my son. So it was a lot at one time. And my grandpa, it's hard when you find out that your hero is actually human. And he was getting older. And he came to me in March and said, it's time. They need to go to your house now. You can take care of them better than I can. And my heart was shattered, but also a little bit of me was like, okay, I can do this, I think. So I went home and told my husband, I'm like, hey, we got to move him here. And my husband is extremely supportive of me. He's not a horse person at all, but he's so supportive. He built a fence, a really nice fence. We got a shop, we got the corral, everything, because he's so amazing. Got the horses here in November. So now at this time I had an 8-month-old, and I was working and all this stuff was happening. So got them here. And then I found myself looking at him going, what now? Because my whole horse career was with my grandpa. It was all with him. He was my rock. He was the one that if I thought something was wrong, he had the answer. And so when all of a sudden they were at my house, I thought, oh my gosh, what if they colic? What if this happens? What if this happens? I don't know any of this. I don't know how to do this. I don't know. And I was really lost. I was lost in my own head. I didn't know how to fix it. And then it got to the point that I thought maybe I shouldn't have them. Maybe I shouldn't have these guys anymore, because if I don't know, then I could potentially hurt them. I could get hurt, because to me, I don't get on a horse until I'm completely confident. And even though this time I had horses for a long time, I still just didn't know. And so, so it was this way, and I just did my normal thing, but it was this way for about a year. And I thought something has to give. Like, it's either I have to give up my passion of horses and be done with them completely, or I need to cowgirl up. I need to figure something out. And talked with my grandpa, of course. He gave me that confidence of, no, you got this, you can do it. My husband, all these people that knew who I really was and knew that without horses, I was going to be miserable and I was going to have major withdrawals. My grandpa calls it a defective gene, but if you love horses and are passionate about horses the way that him and I are, and it's called a defective gene, and it just is there and you can't get rid of it. So, and then I believe August is when I was looking like, you know what? Liberty. I love training. That's my thing. I love training and I love doing groundwork and I love that. And so I thought, Liberty. And so I looked into it and looked up a bunch, and yours just kind of clicked with me. I messaged you that day and you called me that day, which was amazing. And we had a conversation and I went, this is it. So yeah, that's awesome. Long wind, sorry.
No, that is great. That's such a powerful story, Makenna. I mean, it is clear that your grandfather's influence had shaped a lot of your foundation and confidence with horses initially, but stepping in to having the horses on your own property and then saying, what your next steps are, like stepping into Liberty work. That created a whole new challenge for you.
Yes, it
And
did.
that's a big story. That's something big to be proud of. So when you first, started trying to work at Liberty, what were some of the biggest challenges or the biggest struggles or uncertainties you faced? And what mindset shifts or breakthroughs helped you start making real progress? Give us a couple of examples if you could, because I see so many people struggle with this entire process.
Yeah, and it is a process. That's the thing. I think if anyone's like me, I'm a very type A. Like I want it done now. I want it done. Like this is how it is. And with horses, it's just not that way. So I think I kind of dabbled with Liberty a little bit. And when I say dabbled with Liberty, I mean more follow me without me pulling you. Hey, follow at my shoulder without me pulling you. It wasn't Liberty. It was follow me. Like just do what I do kind of thing with Coda, my buckskin that I've been doing this with.
Right.
And so when I actually got into it, in my mind, I went, I've got this. Like, I know, like I've done this groundwork. This is going to be great. Well, that first thing was the attention grabber and stuff and keeping that attention on me. And I went, oh, you are terrible at this, horse. Like, your attention's over there and I'm here. And so even though he was 13 at the time, I still was like, wow, and had done groundwork from when he was a weanling. His attention was not on me. And so it really made me rethink the whole, he really is not on me at all. Like, and then I even started noticing that when I was riding him, the difference of, wow, he's not on me at all. Like, he's not paying attention to me at all. And so even doing those things that you taught me with that attention, I started noticing I was doing things like that with riding him also. If he was looking this way, I was going to make him move this, like I was going to make him move. So then he didn't know what I was thinking. And so I think that was one of the big ones. Another one that and you know this, oh my gosh, that half moon almost.
Everybody.
It almost put me in a loony bin. But seriously, you just kept saying, just get through it. You can do it. Just get through it. You can do it. I'm like, I can't. Like at one point, my grandpa was there and I threw the sticks in the air and I went, I'm done, and walked away. Like, I don't even know anymore. I don't know. And I was so frustrated. And my grandpa was laughing at me and Coda's standing there like, what are we doing now? And so, holy cow, when we got that half moon finally, because that half moon seriously took me with that horse who, again, has never taken this long to catch on to something. That half moon took him a good month and a half. I was at I went fast from the beginning to that. Once I got that, I was stuck, completely stuck for over a month and a half. And then, of course, winter happened. And so once I got that half moon, the heavens opened. I went, did that actually happen? Like, holy cow. Because he had the struggle of a lifetime, and my other horse just did it. The other one that I work with, he just did it. And I was like, okay, awesome. This is great. But no, I'd say those were definitely the ones that I had to readjust my mindset.
Yeah, and that half moon is the most critical exercise. And if you struggle understanding, it's just as much for you to understand what you're looking for and the body control that you're gaining from it. But it's the most critical exercise within Liberty. And you really need, you can't skip that step and you can't skip over it because you will lose your horse's connection with it. And I want to go back just a few minutes too, because you were talking about that attention, focus, relaxation exercise. And I think that too, another exercise that not only teaches you, or not only teaches your horse to keep its attention on you during those times, because when your horse only can focus on one thing at a time, and you need to be the leader for it to focus on you. But at the same time, it teaches you to become much more attuned with your horse and what your horse is paying attention to so that you can reassure your horse that you've got it covered. You are the sentinel. You are watching out for them. You know when they're looking away and you're going to step off in that other direction and draw their attention back to you because you are that attuned to them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, that is so powerful and everything that you're saying, it makes so much sense. The struggles that you had, a lot of people have struggles. They try to do this on their own and it's tough. And I
Or
love
try to do the YouTube videos that
yes, there are the YouTube videos
Pinterest
that skip all the
or
steps that don't tell you all the stuff.
how do you get to this point? Yeah, no, that's
Yeah. And I love that you pushed through all the struggles that you had, even from the point of throwing your sticks off, and your grandpa laughing at you. I love that. And instead of letting all of that hold you back, you kept going. And it's clear that once things started clicking, your confidence and your horse's confidence really grew, or you would have never achieved that point that you achieved. And
Mhm. And
and
it's
I
okay.
know so oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say you had mentioned before, like when people become in tuned with their horses, and I mean, I've mentioned a couple times that I've had this horse since a weanling, and I know him. I know his quirks. I know his
Yeah,
little weird things. But doing Liberty with him puts it in a whole other playing field because he is in charge of himself almost.
right.
He's looking to me for guidance. Whereas if I'm holding him, I have control. I've got that full control that I am able to know you will come here. But doing Liberty, he has that choice. And
Yes,
so it's really interesting to be because any little time he moves his leg one way, I go, ooh, and have to figure out how to draw him back in. So I have to be even more in tune with him, which I think has helped with our relationship even more than it was 8 months ago.
absolutely. And I don't know if you've, recognized in this at this stage with it, but it sounds like you probably have, but it has really I know Liberty for me, and I know, and I teach this it is you start to really see things within your horse's body language from
Mm-hmm.
just small muscular movements, things that you would not have noticed previous to doing Liberty. Things that when you just did basic groundwork or rode your horse, you probably missed all of that. And now that you
Mm-hmm.
are more attuned to your horse, you can see things that you didn't see before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I know that a lot of people, watching can probably relate to, what you shared with your challenges. And for those of you tuning in, I'd like to know, have you ever felt that uncertainty when working with your horse and maybe questioning if you're doing things right or if your horse truly understands or if you're getting frustrated? Do me a favor, drop a me, so me in the comments below in this live stream if you've ever struggled with confidence or clarity in your training. Because I'd really love to hear I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear, where you're at with your training. So, because so once you start seeing progress, you things change for you and
Mhm.
so for people just go in and type in if you're struggling with that confidence or clarity, type the word me. That really helps me. But so what was the moment, McKenna? What was the moment that you realized, wow, this is really working? That what was that specific breakthrough or achievement that made everything feel different for you?
Uh, of course, the half moon, but I think one that really, really got me was that it was probably about a month ago. They were out in the arena field area, and I looked over at them, and I wasn't going to do anything. I was just going out there, and they were all doing their horse thing. Well, Coda walked up to me, nickered at me, and pushed me. And I said, "Do you want to play?" And he just kind of looked at me and then just started walking with me and then I grabbed all of my stuff. He followed me right back out and we played. And he a lot of times tells me when he wants to play, and it's most of the time. But that to me was like, wow, like he likes this. I'm loving this. This is kind of what this is exactly, not kind of, this is exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for that thing that made us one come back together, get my confidence back, get his confidence back, because if I'm not confident, he's not going to be confident. So I needed to take that back for him and me. And another thing too is that I went from having him to family circumstances, having 3 horses that I was in charge of working and keeping going, and he's never had to share me. And I felt it from him for sure. I felt it from him that year of them just coming here. And so this really gave that bond back to us, because he knows that he's my guy when it comes to Liberty. He's that guy for me. So I think that was really when it really was like, oh, I love this.
Your relationship changed, and I love how you have mentioned that, because so many times my own Liberty horses are sitting there looking at me and saying, is it my turn? Is it, because I work them individually as well as all of them together as a team. And they stand there and they look at me almost volunteering and raising their hands that they want to be the ones to be pulled out at that moment.
Yep.
And that's big. That's big.
Yeah.
That changes everything, changes the relationship when you know that that horse is really enjoying what you're doing with them. They're not just this little soldier. They're out there and they're having fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's transition a little, and I do want to make sure I'm giving resources for everyone here as well. And I actually put together recently an in-depth training on mastering Liberty circles, and it's the exact process I use to help people like Makenna go from uncertainty to confidence in their Liberty work. In a nice little step-by-step. It was a webinar that showed video of each of these, including the half moon, each of these step by step. And normally this training is $57, but since we're here live, the people are watching, I want to offer it for just $47 for the next 24 hours only. And if you've been struggling with getting clean, consistent Liberty circles, or just want a clear roadmap for progress, this training is definitely for you. So just do me a favor and drop Liberty in the comments below here, and I'll send you the special link. I'm just looking over here at the comments and keeping an eye, and I see Crystal says hi. So I'm going to say hi back, Crystal. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you joining the live stream. Love to see people when they engage in this. So, okay. So I want to zoom in now and go a little bit more micro with you, Makenna, on the specific moments that made that biggest difference for you. And we talked about it from a macro kind of point of view, but was there a turning point where something specifically just clicked? I know we talked a little bit about it in generalizations. Was it could have been your mindset, your horse's response, besides, just him standing there looking at you, but like, hey, volunteering, hey, me, or even was it just understanding the process in some new way?
I think it was a combination of all of those things, to be honest, because I had a clear goal. It was very like the way your program set up is do this, do this, do this. And that's definitely how I am. So I had a clear goal of where I was headed. Now, when I was going to get there, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'll have this done in 12 weeks. Easy. Well, weather hits and that doesn't happen. But I think I had a process and I had a mindset of this is what it's going to take. I know this isn't going to be easy, but this is where I want to go. And then also just allowing that patience, be like allowing myself to be patient with my horse, with myself, and that we didn't have to be perfect at it. right off the bat. It was a learning curve. And so I think because I do ask for perfection, that was a struggle for me and him because I wanted perfection right then. So I think my mindset of this is a journey. I mean, the old saying is it's a journey, not the destination. But it really is true when it comes to this kind of thing because I'm obviously still on that journey. And once you hit the destination with your horses, then that's when it's time to get rid of horses.
Right. Yep. It is a journey, and you're always climbing and trying to reach the next, you reach this goal and then you set new goals, and it just opens up the door for more things. I mean, maybe your buckskin and my buckskin can get together and do a Liberty team. That'd be kind of cool.
Seriously.
I just want to say hi to Tracy out there. She says hello. So hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining the live stream tonight too. So one thing I know that was a game changer for you, we talked about this, was the understanding of the difference between a Liberty circle and lunging circle.
Yes.
Can you share what that shift looked like for you and how it
Yeah,
changed?
I was waiting for you to mention that. I was like, I'm not sure when you wanted me to go into this. So as I said before, I'm an advocate for Clinton Anderson. That's what my horses all know. That's what my grandpa taught me. And so lunging, I would assume everyone knows lunging. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into it, but lunging and Liberty circles were completely different. You know, before I started doing this program and stuff, I lunged him and I lunged him offline. And everyone thinks, you did a Liberty circle. And I thought, I did a Liberty circle. And then once I started doing this program, and then that day that I was like, you know what? Let's try this. Let's see what happens. You could totally take off, but let's see. And I started doing that Liberty circle, and he went around the first time, and I went, oh. And then he went around the second time, and I went, whoa. I was like, let's see what happens. And then I changed directions, and he stuck with me. And it wasn't just the fact that he stuck with me. It's one, I don't think I could have peeled that horse off of me if I wanted to. Like, he was with me. He had no reservations about like where I wanted him. And the way he was so soft. You know, with lunging, yes, they can get soft. You want them to be soft. You want them to curve a little bit. Of course, you don't want their head way out. But it was a different level of softness. You could see you could just see his back just soft and round. His neck was soft and rounded out. Not so much that it looked goofy, but enough. His ear was totally on me. His feet were going at this pace that was like, I got done. And so we switched about 8 times. And I thought, I'm going to stop before I ask for too much. And so we stopped. And I looked around and I went, oh crap, no one was here to see that. They're going to think that it's like the fishing story, that it didn't really happen. First thing I did was try to text you, but it wasn't working. And then called my grandpa. And so, but it was the coolest thing. And then and then the weather turned bad. So the next time I had the opportunity was about a week later. And I went, I wonder if that was a fluke. I should probably check. So went out, and the wind was howling. It was nasty weather. So if it wasn't gonna work, that's when it was gonna happen. Went out, grabbed him, and he did it again just fine. This time it was windy, so he was a little bit more. It wasn't as beautiful, but the basics were there, and he did it, and I went, holy crap. That is definitely not lunging. And those are the words that I said to you when I was talking to you. I was like, that is not lunging.
That's why I wanted to really ask you about that difference, because we didn't really talk about those details. You shared that with me, but I love how you pulled that out, that he was looking at you and you couldn't peel him away from you. But I mean, even more so when a horse is lunging around you, sometimes if you take that lead rope off, even take the halter off, sometimes they will still lunge around you because they're anticipating, they know what their job is, they know what they need to do, but they're not really connected with you. And they're not really watching every move that you're making versus that connection in that liberty circle where they're really bent into you. And that's where that half moon really comes into play. They're really bent into you and they're looking for every direction you're ready that you're going to give. And they're ready for whatever it is you're going to do with your body because they're reading your body language.
Yeah.
And that is connection. They want to be there. They're not doing it because they're just used to doing another circle.
Yeah. Yeah, that half moon really is, if nothing else, don't skip that one.
Yeah, no.
Because you see it. You
Don't
see it
skip
when
any
they're
of them,
doing
but
that
yeah.
liberty circle. You see it. Like you totally, you're like, well, there's the half moon. As they're doing the liberty circle, you're like, okay, well, that month and a half paid off.
Yeah, it really does. And it leads to making bigger liberty circles because, that's kind of the next stage of that is trying to get them away from you and still be able to have that connection and not break that connection. So, yeah. Do you mind if I ask a personal question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Now, I mean, like for you, as we're talking about growing as humans, and what would be an area where you felt personally that you have grown or stepped into a new level of confidence or leadership personally, not just with your horse, but maybe just even in other areas of your life?
I think this is something that I'm constantly working on is that perfectionism. I need everything to be perfect. I need everything. I'm never good enough. It's very much that how I always have to be better. I'm always competing. I'm always, but and I still work on this. I'm not perfect, and that's something that's very hard for me to understand. But I think uh, with the Liberty stuff, it can't be perfect because it's not just me. I have a horse there that has a mind of his own, and I have a 2-year-old that requires my attention. I have a job. I have a husband. I have so many hats, just like everybody else does. And so, feeling that way of not everything is perfect, and I'm definitely not there yet. I still think that I need to be perfect in a lot of areas, in a lot of ways. But I've noticed that when I'm with my horses, that's when it calms. That's definitely that calming voice. And a lot of times my husband will say, "You need to go out with your horses." I think you're right.
You need to go out.
I think you need to go. Yes, I
I'm
think you're
grounded to my
correct.
horses.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So I think that's one thing in life that I'm definitely working on, and the horses and doing Liberty in particular has really helped me to realize that it can't be perfect. Because guess what? They're gonna run off. Like you've said it, your horses run off on you in the middle of competitions, and you're like, here we are. And so you just have to learn that and
Does happen.
saddle up and do it anyway.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they run off. But the whole goal is to prevent that runoff in the first place, which is the approach that I take with my Liberty team. That's the approach I take with my clients, and to really put that foundation on where the horse doesn't leave so that we don't have those what if situations. And it gets better. Even if the horse does leave initially at first, it does get better. I like this. So Patricia says, I get go to the barn. She gets told that.
Yep. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Well, nice. I have 2 or 3 more questions for you, but first, if anyone is watching, which we have quite a few people watching, not to make you nervous, Makenna, we talked about that a
We're
little
good.
bit. If you have a question specifically, anybody out there who has a question specifically for Makenna that you'd like to have her answer about the process and what she went through to achieve those Liberty Circles, this would be the best time to ask. Go into the comments and ask right now as we get ready to wind down a little bit here. And I'll be watching the comments here. I've been watching them, but if you have something that you'd like to have her touch on, we'll see if she can give you an answer. So just go ahead and go into the comments, and Makenna's here. She's only here for a few more minutes, so I'm sure that she's more than happy to tell you about her experiences. But let me ask you this, then, Makenna. You're achieving Liberty Circles and changes of directions. What's next for you?
Oh man, everything. Oh, if only I could narrow it down. Um, so obviously I want to keep going with him. He's definitely not where he's not at the end by far. Like I said, I don't think there is an end.
Right.
And so I'm going to keep working with him. And then I also have my other two that I want. One of them I've been working with, not as much as Coda, but I've been working with my other one. And then I have another mare that I'm going to work with and do all these things. And then I'm hoping to put them together. So Laura, you need to come up with a, how do we do teaming?
Yeah, that's actually on my agenda, believe it or not. I've been asked
Perfect.
a couple of times for that.
See, better do
Yeah,
it.
that's
So
coming out this year.
yes, yes, perfect timing. So
Yeah,
that's definitely on it. And then I also want to do bridal lists and bareback with him. And
fantastic.
I just think of all the cool routines. You can start with the Liberty on the ground, then get on. Like I just can picture it. And then you have a double horse. Like it's, oh, my brain. Sometimes I
Roman
don't know how I
riding?
get
Are
to
you
work.
thinking Roman riding?
I actually have done a little Roman riding.
Oh,
Not much.
wow.
Not much. It's very like I can walk. I could walk. That's it. But yes, Roman riding is one. Except one of them's really tall and the other one's shorter. So he kind of grew a lot more.
That's
But
been my problem. I don't have horses on the same
yeah,
height yet. I need to find horses that are a little bit closer to that same height to try
just
something with them.
for like a platform on the short one, and it's fine.
Stair
It'll be
step
great.
them.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, for someone just starting off with Liberty, it can be so easy to feel overwhelmed and unsure of where to begin. But, when you push through those initial struggles and start seeing even the smallest progress, it really does
Mhm.
build your confidence. I've seen it over and over, time and time again with the clients that I'm supporting. And it's not just in your horsemanship, but in yourself as a whole. And
Mhm.
you realize that you can trust yourself to handle challenges, both in training and in life. And, it really does help you. Every day, we're given the opportunity to go all in, right? To
Mhm.
take what we've been given, the chips that we've got, and turn them into something really extraordinary. I think about this quite frequently, even in my own life. I've had a lot of ups and downs myself in the last 2 years because of,
Mhm.
a stepfather passing away just at the 3 weeks after moving mom to assisted living. And then my father passed away 2.5 months after that, and then now mom, and it takes an impact, and really, it gets you behind on your goals too, which
Mhm.
can, that can be challenging. But think about it. If we're holding the cards, why not play them like we're crafting our own Oscar winning performance, right?
Yeah.
And going all in means committing in every moment, every step, and pushing beyond the limits, that we've set for ourselves, and beyond the things that life throws at us sometimes. It's about creating a life and a journey that's worth watching, right?
Mhm.
One where we're fully invested. I really like to say that it's an investment into the process, and
Mhm.
don't hold back, right? Go all in every day and make your story one that stands out and inspires others. And I see that over and over again with some of my clients that are just, they are inspiring others to take up Liberty and to do what they're already doing, because people are watching them and saying, wow, I want that for myself too. But
Mhm.
it really starts with taking the first steps, which I have, another big question for you. But before that, on this live stream itself, I just want to throw out there, I have a 7-day trial option for my full program. If somebody's out there that's looking for a game plan about where to start their Liberty journey or how to advance Liberty, if they've got themselves to a point where maybe their horse is following them on the ground, maybe they're even getting some circles, but maybe they're more like lunging circles, as we talked about, and they'd like to just advance that and get a better connection and figure all this out, then that would be even, it's working on the initial steps to get, rounded Liberty circles, for example, changes of directions, getting your horse to want to stay with you, trotting, cantering around you, all those things you want to, and if you want to see what that game plan looks like in my full program, which offers one-to-one support directly to you and your horse, the same thing that Makenna has received, maybe learning how to communicate better with your horse so that your horse has a better understanding of what it is you want. Really creating a partner. And that's what I say, is creating a partner. So, if you're interested in learning more about that 7 days, trying it out, go in the comments and write the word trial, TRIAL, not trail. It's trial. Go in and write trial below if you're interested in having me contact you and walking you through what that would look like. And we have 7 days to get to know each other. And you can give me 1% of your trust, because I've got to earn the other 99%. But I'm think I'm pretty confident on that one. So if you guys are interested, comment trial below, and I'll reach out and connect. And I want to say, even with Makenna, with that first time on the phone, we really connected, and your energy was contagious. We talked for a while, right? I think
An hour. Yeah. We
yes.
talked about it for about an hour. Yep.
Yeah, and it was mind blowing, because I think that your energy and my energy together was really, really good, and we got along really well, and there was just so much to say, and that energy makes a really big difference, not only in relationships with people, but in your relationship with your horse. Having, some energy to be able to, sometimes you got to tone energy down, you have to build it up, and that's definitely. But, and I see we have a question over here. Toby Lynn says, did you start in a small area first, or did you start right away in a big arena? And if you started in a small area, how long before you switched and eventually let them loose? So that's for you.
Yeah. And hey, don't let me forget, I have something to say about like your trial and stuff
Oh
about,
yeah.
I'll answer this question and then let me get back to that.
Yeah.
So I had a round pen, but I didn't use it. And then we took it down because it was in our shop, because I was actually training a colt at the time, just doing basic groundwork with her. And then I sold her. And so I had that, but I didn't start there. And so I was in a really big arena at my house, and that's where I went to. And so I had to hold, I had to keep the lead rope on a little bit, maybe longer. I don't know the length usually, but nope, I had a big area. And some of them are harder because I didn't have that, and so it is a little bit more intimidating. And that's where I really learned to, is he going to take off? Do I need to hold on to him? So then he didn't practice that behavior. So if I thought even a little bit that he's going to be a butt today, I would do stuff with him, but I kept him very close. And I would actually I have a long lead rope, and I'd take it and wrap it up around his neck. So it still was there, that I could grab it if I
quickly get
it. I could be grabbed instead of, I could grab him if I needed it. So that was
that all the time.
That was my solution. So
yeah. I have to add to that too. Is I don't now, when I first started teaching my horses Liberty, I did start in a round pen because I was still learning and trying to figure out what I was doing. Now, I mean, I've started so many horses at Liberty now, and so I don't even bother with the round pen anymore. I'm always out in the arena. I do exactly as you talked about, wrapping that lead rope around the neck. That's my transition to fully taking the halter and lead rope off, because my goal is always to prevent the horse from leaving me, not trying to necessarily punish them if they leave me. My goal is to get them to want to stay with me.
Mhm.
And so if a horse does leave me, usually what that tells me is they didn't understand what it was that I wanted them to do. And I don't have enough reinforcers in there to show them that that's what I want. So I will go back on that halter and lead rope and work through it, get those reinforcers, and then I take that back off again and have some good success. So I'm not chasing my horses around the arena. My strategy is a little bit different on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, I had
So
mine run off on me
yeah.
one time, and he ran into the corner, and I went, hello. And he came back to me. I was able to use like Coda here, and he came back to me pretty quickly. And a lot of people ask me, like, if I tell them I do Liberty and stuff, if they're like, oh, I can't do treats for my horses. I just can't. And my horse, like, you know this, like,
Yep.
he is a treat whore, I'm sorry to say. Like, he just always wants
Love
treats.
it.
I'm sorry, I can't think of a better word, but he always wants treats, and he's always trying to get it treats to me. And so, and there is like, I love the way you approach that. And that is something in your program that you do talk about, but treats really do change that reinforcer. So, and I do treats with him because before you, I think I asked you even, do I have to do treats? Like everyone I talk to says, do I have to do treats? And it's like, you don't have to, but it's a game
Yep.
changer.
It is. It's
Especially when they're learning.
reinforcers.
Yep, especially when they're learning. Oh, let me go back really fast when you're
Yeah.
talking about your
Yeah.
trial and stuff in the program. So coming from someone, so I'm a teacher, I've been a teacher for 10 years, and I am very judgmental on people who teach things. I know that's mean, it's not, but I just look at them in a different way. I'm like, if you're trying to teach someone, and I look for those little things that teachers do. And Laura, you should have been a teacher, honestly, in this life, because the way that you go about teaching is completely natural, and it's coming from a place of love. And so, and you've been hard on me before. You've been like, don't do that. And I love that. I'm like, got it. And the
Yep.
way you come about it, the way you explain things, it makes sense. I don't know if that helps, but
Does.
and
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
do love the way you teach. So
I appreciate
you're
that.
fabulous.
Just a little inside. I taught at a college for 8 years.
Oh, see, so
So
you are a teacher. I knew it.
I had that teaching personality. Actually, I had
I
the
knew.
teaching personality way back when I was first going to college myself, and I became a tutor. And the teacher liked my style of teaching, that she actually let me teach the marketing math class that the students had, because I excelled and actually finished that class in 3 weeks.
Oh
I
my
took
God.
the whole, it was a self-paced class with some instruction. And so I turned around
See?
and she let me basically teach that class. So that's where my first teaching experience started. And then eventually I wanted to teach at the college. So teaching has been, so I
Yeah. See,
appreciate,
I knew it. I was like, there's no way she hasn't taught something. So
yeah.
you're natural at it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It looks like Toby has another question for you. So she says, I have a very reactive Arab, so if she spooks, she'll run off bucking. I let her settle and start again, but I have to, oh, maybe it's not a question, but I have to do a lot of calming first. Okay. So
Mhm.
just a comment there that, yeah, and Arabs, they are cold blooded. They do
Yeah.
have a little bit, different mindset. And so we, with Arabs, we do have to do a little bit more of that attention focused relaxation, the pivoting of the
Desensitizing.
hindquarters, all of those things. But so you'd be surprised at how quickly I worked with an Arab last last summer, had an Arab in for training, and she was here for some groundwork for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, wow, what a big difference. I took her out to I have the annual Liberty Experience event in September, and I actually took her off the property, and she did amazing. She was at first a little looky and looking around,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the tools I taught her and the Liberty that I taught her, we went through some fundamentals first and then did some liberty. She was able to relax and calm down. So at the end of the session where I showed her, she was doing liberty at my shoulder. I think it was liberty at my shoulder she was doing, but she was so much more connected and bending
Mhm.
around me. And it was amazing to watch that. But so I'm saving the best for last here. If you could share one piece of advice for everyone watching here today that you hold dear to you with your work with your horse, what's one thing that stands out to you the most?
Um, Trust.
Yeah.
I think trust in the process. It's it's a lot. Trust in your horse that they're not gonna just run off for no reason. I mean, sometimes they do, I guess. But if you're trusting in the process and you're trusting in yourself and you gain that trust in your horse and you become that have that partnership. I know this all sounds so cliche and very like, oh geez. But it really does. I feel like I trust my horse now than I ever have, more now than I ever have. I let my 2-year-old in with them with me there, of course, but I trust them to be with him. And I think a lot of that is because I've learned the Liberty stuff and I'm able to read. And my buckskin is he's not reactive like she was saying her Arab is, but he can get aggressive. And so I've had to learn how to read him, and he chills out very quickly now because of I think Liberty stuff and the stuff I've like you had said, the stuff that you've taught me, the tools that you've given me. And so I think trust is my biggest thing that
Yeah.
I've
I think that's really the moral of the story is trust, because that's what comes out of it is those horses trusting you and you trusting your horse, having that different relationship and just leaning in and preparing for what's yet to come with your horse and as you grow in that relationship. And I'm sure that it's all surely around the corner for you as you grow. But yeah, I mean, Makenna, it's really great that we've been able to have you here today and chatting with you, and I really appreciate it. But I also think our audience appreciates hearing firsthand your experiences with learning Liberty and your journey. Is there anything else that you want to share?
if you're thinking about doing it, do it. I mean, life's short, do it. Be scared, but don't let that fear take over and just do it and enjoy every second of it because it's going to be gone one day and you're not going to be able to do it. So,
Right,
yep.
right. Thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you for everyone on here that tuned
Yeah.
in to watch this or is going to watch the replay even. Um, you know, so we made that reference about taking opportunities and doing it, right? Just doing it. And if you do want to see what's behind the curtain and here, feel free, drop the word trial below. If you want to get that little 7-day sneak peek into my full program and how my direct support helps you gain the confidence, the trust, all the things that we've been talking about tonight, working on that half moon, and gets you up and going with your Liberty, learning it step by step. So Makenna, I mean, thank you for coming
Thank
on
you.
here with your great smile. It's really
Thanks.
contagious, your energy.
My
Um,
parents paid a lot for it, so I better use it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'll see everyone again next week for another great training, live training. Everyone else, have a great rest of your day. Makenna, it's been a pleasure, and
Yeah,
we'll
thank you.
catch everyone soon.
Okay, we'll see
All right.
ya.
See ya.